Good day everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Here I am actually into the garden. I have a small bowl into my hand and I'm going to be doing some slight work. So I just want to give you guys a better look at what I have here for my water system. Okay, so this little water system which you're watching here, this is what I'm going to be using to wet all of my plantain, figs, whatsoever. So as you can see that white green here, and it's a little bit wetting already from the slope, and it's going to go down to that slope down there. So the longer the water run, it's going to seep through, because I said there is a little bit of rocks, and also there's a little bit of earth between the rocks. Here is a little bit sandy, kind of a gravel-ish, so the water had to soak and feel its way up to back to the surface. That's why I'm getting that flow right here. So what I'm going to have to do actually in the meantime, I'll have to maintain it, because that's my irrigation system for my land. I'm doing more long-term crops. I'm into the long-term field, so it's going to take me some time, well enough, and I don't want it to be too degradable, in the sense of I will have to do too much of work. So here I have my water setting up. I have my bowl with me, and the purpose for this bowl here, together with my water setting up, it's because I am on to running into some new plants which I've actually just planted, and I'm going to give them a little start. Okay, so it's always necessary to give them a little bit of start. So I'm going to give it some water. I know this will take me some time, but from seeing how here is, I know I have pretty good hope for my planting tree. And even if you can recognize these yellow leaves, when you see them into your garden, it's wise to remove them. You don't know what bacteria they may carry or fungicide, so you need to remove them and keep always the green leaves. Okay, so from seeing within my water system here, it's only coughing like this because I actually have it running on some other surfaces, which is really great for me. So here I am into the garden, and what I actually tend to do is I just recently planted some of my other plants, and I want to give them the water which they deserve to start the whole production. Okay, so I know it's going to take me some time to actually get that done, but that's just it. I'm actually preparing for my melons also. This is the whole reason why I'm actually here lately and more frequently than that of the other gardens. There's water here, and I decided to try some melons which I actually tried already before, and where they weren't in that kind of a clay soil which is recommended for melons, and the soil I had them was in dark soil, and it was done pretty well. So I myself, being a little bit of an experienced in person, I decided, why not try it, you know, why not give it a try myself and see what is the real outcome that I'm going to get from it. Okay, so this one I've given it some water, but I'm just going to give it a little more water again. This water is going to also help keep the roots started. And one thing to be mindful of, I've just recently taken off some plants and did some transplanting. It was a little bit tough for me to actually start the video, but it's always wise, if you know for surety you're getting good plants. For the setback in the plant life, whenever taking out suckers from banana trees or fig trees, the banana family, I tend that you actually try to get some with a little bit of roots. So that's going to be like a little starting point for you. So you won't have to actually stress too much on the whole starting process of the tree. So that's what I did. And if I can actually show you, if I had enough of my time, I would have actually showed you guys the type of plants I actually used to become this today, right? The type of plants I used, they were not healthy plants at all. Even when I took them, um, I had a partner with me who actually does the banana field, and he actually recommended to me that the plants which I'm actually using now, they're not that healthy, and I will lose a few, which actually did happen. I had a few which I planted, and they were lost. But that wasn't my actual dream. My whole dream of the planting stage was actually to get the planting plants, actually. And as I continue going, I know the plants are going to get better and better someday. So what I did is I actually planted them all the way they were. And in me planting them all the way they were, it grew into a small tree. It was actually coming up very great. I see the progress in it. I leave it to grow off, whatsoever of all the lot of little strides it may have. I let it beat the weather, which was the dry season weather, and then coming into the rainy weather, I gave them a cleaning, I gave them a manuring, and then I actually started nurturing them from there. So I said, if they actually die due to how I got to the plants, and I actually knew for myself that these plants were actually plants that needed some sort of boosting, then I said to myself, then okay, I know for surety one day, as long as I actually get some plants from them, this is gonna be okay. So as long as I get a plant back, even the tree is not good, I will actually be in, how should I say, satisfied with whatsoever I had, because I never bought a plant. Okay, I never bought any fig tree. I never bought any fig plant. The only set of plants I used to bought was my nursery plants, which was the seeds, and I had to grow them. And when I have to use them for my nursery, I had to actually buy them, replace back the money because it was a business, and I was getting into another business. So it actually had its ups and downs, but I actually get it figured out. And by saying this, I can say it was a really good task. But for me, doing this piece of business here, which I'm doing provisions, I didn't pay a cent for any of the tree which is here today. It was a very good partner of mine who decided that he wanted to go into short crops, and I decided to go into the bananas. And he told me that he want to get rid of his trees, so why not I come over and see as much trees I can get and actually put them into good use. And then thought of the idea. I did stick a bit. I won't say that I didn't, which I'm not supposed to, but I did stick a bit. In the sticking, I decided that okay, why stick when I'm actually getting it for free? So I actually worked upon it, and then that's how I got it today. All these trees which you're watching, and it's just, I can say, the smoke, because I have just planted recent planting trees, and all the areas are actually free here. So I'm gonna have one coming back there to replace. Looking to actually put one right here to build back that spot, and then I have a plant right here which I'm not too sure if it's gonna come back up, but I covered it because I wanted to notice when it's gonna be showing back. And as it's right there, it's covered under this mold. The water is right here, so it's gonna be the first one to get the intake of the underground water, which is going to be something really good for my plantings. I've done a little research on my plantings, reading up on my plantings, to ensure that I get the proper condition for my plantings in the terms of me actually making it happen here, and also to get healthier plants and to have healthier fruits, well, production. So that's it for now. So as I've just wetted them, make sure that they're okay. I'm still gonna try and see if I get one more plant. I can remove that. That should have been a spot here for my melons. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to replace it with a plantain tree or a fig tree. But I'm going to try to get more plantain trees as possible because actually that's the high demand in my country, as I was actually saying. I do have a two fig plants which I can actually take out one from, and I'm going to get some really good production here. The figs are actually good too. It's sometimes it gets really scarce in our country, and it's a little bit difficult at certain times to find provisions in the area. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try my best to have enough figs. But my main focus here is mother plantains because they actually strive better, they grow faster, they are more efficient than the figs. So I'm gonna have less figs and more plantain trees, which is gonna give me a very good start in the beginning of what I'm doing. And so far, everything looks great. I have no problems with anything. So in during my research actually on the internet with the planting trees, I do my little research also, even though I'm actually creative with certain things I'm doing, I still do a little bit of research to actually get into the main depth and point and understanding of how the trees work, what they really love, what they don't love, what amount of water could I give to them, and so on until I actually get what I really want from them. So as I said, person said that they're actually striving good. I could say yes to that, but still, as I said, I'm still not satisfied with how I actually had them growing because I didn't have any water. So now I have the water. I guess as much I'm going to be having way more plants now, and this is going to be a good thing for me. So as you can watch up to the top, when more plants come through, I can go all the way up to the mango, right up to the big green trees on top, and this whole area is going to be filled with plantains, figs, um, melons. So for now, where I had cut the drain, I'm going to be doing a field of melon. It's going to be like a test run for me, even if I'm giving it my best shot. I still going to view it as a test run because actually, with me viewing it as a test run, I'm going to know what I'm going to be doing, if they're going to be progressing here, what could be my next move if I can do the whole thing into the melons, or do I, is it worth it in spending such a money or an expenditure to do such? So it's going to be my first trial. I'm not going to do a trial in the case where I'm going to try something with the benefit of failure. No, I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it the best shot ever. To me, my heart goes for here because it's actually a little bit recommended for the clay soil, which the melon actually striving better. And as it do so, I'm going to take very good care of them, ensure that they get enough fertilizers, ensure that I actually give them enough caring and be here a little more regular. So by the time I'm here regularly, my plantains or my figs, they can see a difference because actually the water is going to be running, and that's actually a big step, big motion in the short crop field. You have to have the water, and as long as the water is coming in, I believe I'm going to be giving them more caring than they should ever get, and that caring is going to bring them all the way to the way I want them to look. And sooner or later, who knows what's going to take place. There might be someone who actually want to start a little farming for themselves. They may want to go into some long-term crops. I shouldn't be saying no to them or actually wanting to charge them for certain plants because I didn't have pay a cent for any of what I have here, as I said earlier. So that should be me being very kind and generous to actually give someone else a little help. So this is what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm going to give you guys a show on the melons, which actually are in the trees. They are hatched already. They are a little bit, at least half a centimeter off the tree from the soil to the top, and they are coming on very well. I'm looking to give them up to Thursday, please the Lord, to actually get them on running. So it's really great here. And lastly, I have brought my hose with me. Okay, so within the hose section, I have a real good remedy for them. So this is the hole which I actually buy for a very long time now. When I just started my nursery, I went and purchased that hole, and I decided that it should give me some good results, you know. It's a little bit soft now because of all the times I had it. It has been twisted up and all this stuff like that. But since it's a little bit um, the way I think it should be, it's not quite beneficial right now for if I want to do some irrigation or process. It wouldn't give me the real process which I'm actually looking for. So that's why I'm going to turn it into a drip hose. So I'm going to ensure that I cut some holes from it, and I'm going to make another connection to get the pressure to actually go all the way up to the top. And as long as I can reach to the top with the water, I believe I can have here an underground soak as how I'm actually doing to the other side way down, and this wouldn't be a problem for me. So as long as I get in the water to actually go where I want it to go, I believe this shouldn't be a problem. So as you can see in the clear areas where I actually burnt, there is some plantains there, down there. I even have one a little bit close to, well, it's a little bit in the back of the tank, and I've done 3 recent rows right here. And then I have this plant, which actually was very good, but I had my shipped here, and she had actually break down some of the leaves, so it's actually starting over, and that's something I don't want again. And also this one also was in the same process of it, but it actually got a little bit damaged. And also I have this small plant, and I would recommend actually if you planting plants, I will recommend that you use the peeper plants. And I can give you a little demonstration of the peeper plants which I'm actually talking about. Let me see if I get a small one. Right. For instance, you want to do plantings, and you want to make sure that you have the right plantings for the job. Okay, you want to make sure you give them the right caring, and make sure that they are actually giving you production. So with this little plant here, most persons call it a peeper. I don't know what it's in other countries, but it's actually like when the plant comes from the mother plant itself and it just comes from the stalk. It's a little bit tender. You try to get it with a little bit of roots, and that is how I have started the whole process with what I'm doing right now, with how the plantings are looking and how everything looks very good. I'm going to try and keep here clean as possible, and I'm trying to run a very nice planting farm up to the top of the garden also. So that's what I'm actually doing, and in doing this I want to make it very special to me, so I can take my time. I can actually focus and spend some time on getting my plants actually together. I don't want to do something now, start it, and then afterwards it's fall, and it's going to be hard to pick back up because of all the labor I actually put into it. So I decided that I should actually value my labor. Before I never used to actually value my labor that much, but now I'm actually learning the real process of how the things work, and I'm actually valuing my labors, and I'm seeing a very good input of it. So that's going to give me more motivation to actually continue going. So I'm saying if you want to find it very nice to do some farming, you find the short crops might be a little bit stressful for you. And as I always said, there is a very big difference within the short crops to the long-term crops, as I actually did it in my other videos, where I said that with the short crops you have to buy it, but with the long-term crops they actually gives you plants for free, and you can just actually plant and plant until you run out of space to plant, and then doom, you actually looking to go somewhere else from there. So far so good. I'm gonna always, as I said, I'm gonna try my best to always come here every afternoon to actually wet the suckers of the plants, because I've taken them off with a little bit of roots, and that's gonna be a very good start for them. And as long as they have sent up the first 2 leaves or first 3 leaves or first center leaf, I'm gonna be so happy to see that they actually send up the first center leaf. So I know these plants are actually gone. All what I need to do now is actually make sure that they're getting the sufficient water they need, and also make sure I give them the best fertilizer I can, so that they can continue coming up very powerful. After they have come up powerful and I have been satisfied with the way they are actually looking, then I can tell myself it's time for molding. Okay, and the molding process actually really makes me see my planting and my figs very differently, and this is why I actually want to mold them as much as possible. Okay, as long as they go back down to stage, I'm gonna come back up with a molding process again. Even though I has the water running here for them, and they're gonna be fine, because the more water they get, the roots go more farther, the planting get more founded on the ground. But still, I'm gonna actually continue giving them the molding that they need, so that they can produce more plants, they can be healthier plants. They can even show me if they're actually having a deficiency, so I can know if the plant is molded, well taken care of, and it's actually looking down, I can know it's something definitely wrong with them. So this is it for today, and sooner or later, I do have something else I will be doing, but I can't remember right now. But when it comes to that species here, I'm going to actually thinking of later on maybe to do something with it. I have a few passion fruits to run, and I have very much pumpkins to plant. And the problem with me on the pumpkins is actually the pumpkins. Um, it's not really good to mix the pumpkins with the melons, because all the running crops loves the space to run, and they help with reduction of the weeds. And I'm very very thankful for it. I'm not gonna say I'm not. That's why I don't want to actually um, try to mix them. I have a lot of plants, and right now I don't even know where to put some of them. So it's really really good to be into the garden, and as I always said, farming is something you should love. It's all about taking care of plants. It's all about making sure that plants actually get the real life they deserve, just like how someone else will want the best for themselves. And the more you do it better, the more you do it great, is the more productive they look, is the more encouragement they gives it to you, and you can continue going as far as possible you would like to go with planting figs. So with that start, I'm clear to show you that if that's the way I start with my planting and figs, I'm gonna be surprised by one day later on how the other plants are gonna look. So that little piece of crop there alone is a motivation to continue doing what I'm doing and to never stop. And it had motivated me so much that I actually wanted to do some melons between them. That's how motivating it actually made me. So what I'm gonna do, as I said, from that point here, I can't get a planting plant from that point here. So I'm going to try using a fig plant, which I actually fell from me. And what I did, I never actually killed it. So I cut it out a little higher, and I let it send up some suckers for me. So now I can take this sucker here, which is not in line with the rest of the trees, and I can leave this one as the main stem, and I can give it a very good molding and let it actually fund itself. And as the water is going to be coming on the ground from way up there, it's going to give it some real good. So it looks very beautiful here to see that it had given me two very nice suckers. So I'm going to take my time, take them off, and I'm going to replace back the center, which I actually showed you all. It's me alone for now, so the camera is kind of jiggleish, and also I don't have anyone to give me the flaming. So I'm gonna plant it off myself, and when I do, I'm gonna show you guys how it looks. Okay. So I guess as much as that's gonna be you all, how should I say it? Starting plant. If I'm really productive or not. If this plant looks so healthy and actually I transplanted it and it's not coming on again, then I think ours is gonna be the faulty problem and not the plant. So if the plant goes really well, you all is going to follow back to my YouTube page, my channel, watch my videos, and every time I'm here, I'm going to try and mention this fig plant, which I'm actually going to transplant, and you're all gonna see if it's really worth it or not. So far, so good. Plantain trees look a little bit shaky, but they're founded now because they have gotten the molding. And now I'm actually running the water, so I believe it's gonna be more founding like that than this. Because actually in the molding stage, I've met some of the roots which were actually drying out, and I knew that they're coming off the ground. And also, when they're coming off the ground, they're gonna fall. So that's the whole reason for actually giving them the molding, making sure they have enough soil to keep them up. And as soon as we start experiencing that very, very, very heavy rainfall, I'm gonna shut off all my water, and this is gonna be something less stressing for me because it's not really stressing now because everything is being wet on the ground, and I don't have much of a work to do to say I have to come here with a hoe and actually try to spray all of these plants to actually get them. I don't have to do this, so I just cut a hedge drain and I just have this water actually running 3 days now. I guess it's like 2 days or 1.5. I think it's like 2 days now since I've set it up and I've dig that drain and I've let that water run. That's to show you how dry the land really is. Normally in 2 days time when I have my garden over there, it's gonna actually flood the whole place because no there has been water actually pumping there for some time. But with this garden here, the dry season was really hard on me. So as you can see, it is actually wetting, but you can't see any sign of the water movement. If it's wetting, if it reached that point, or if it reached down there, or if it's still up here, you're not going to see anything like this. So I'm not vexed in any case, but I'm satisfied that there is water here. It's in the soil, and as long as it's in the soil, the earth's going to absorb the water. So I have no problems. So all I'm going to have to do now is look for the changes in my plants, and I'm going to know if they're actually getting that water or not, or if that water is not leaching down to the tip. But even if it's leaching to deep, whenever the sun rises, cool air always actually rises. Okay, sorry, cool air actually sinks, and the hot air always rises. So with the evaporation, I believe the plant's going to intake most of the water from right below. So that's going to be a very good production here. And as soon as I have these little plants off the ground, I'm going to give you all the guided tool. Even last month before I actually go, let me show you all this nice little trick here. Here is I have one planting tree, and if you can see this planting tree, it's a very nice planting tree. Also have two suckers with it. I removed one, so I actually went very fast and I started molding it because I couldn't lose that tree anymore. As I said, I lose one of my trees and it was really hurting to me to know that I actually lost a tree. So now she has gotten the water, she has gotten everything. And what I can see from here is I actually had that water running 3 days. It wasn't heavy as this one, but I believe she had got some very good watering because when I've actually planted that tree there, I can see that underneath there is still moist, really moist, that there is a lot of water has been passed here. And from since I've given her the water, she had the piece of leaf sheet here thrown out, but I find she was taking really long to actually cast it off. But since the water has hit, I can see a difference in her just casting it out like she knows what she's doing, and I'm so surprised for that. So I'm gonna give her a time to do what she has to do and see what size of planting I can get from her, and if it's a very good planting, then I'm gonna be very happy. So I have a little bit of things to do, which is going to be ensuring that I have these little plants come up. I'm going to monitor them with the rest of my figs, and I'm going to see if the planting really surpasses the figs, because I know they actually grows very quick. So I'm going to see if they actually surpasses the figs, and if they do, this is going to be something I'll have to actually start mentioning to anybody who wants to do long-term crops, but they don't have much time to actually wait. So I can recommend doing plantings is actually a very good start, because in the less than 4, 5, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months time, you can actually get healthy plants, which is going to be preparing for chewing and preparing for actually getting ready for bearing. So as you can see, outside look a little bit rainy like. We're not too sure if we're gonna get that rain, but it looks a little bit rainy like, and I'm hoping that we actually get a shower, even if I have my water system running. An over the head sprinkle shower is always a very nice shower also for your plants. And if the shower comes in, I'm going to be more than grateful for a top shower, and also for those on the bottom side of the plant. Going to be very great. So thank you all for watching on my YouTube channel. I hope this has been a very, very educational channel to anyone that's watching it. And see you all in the next video.